What is going on? JD here, and I haven't posted in a long time videos like this, but I kind of want to comment on a video that's been going around. It's basically of LeBron James. He's doing an interview with Steve Nash, and someone else might be there. But basically the interview is saying he's trying to justify that he can be great without championships. And that, there's no reason why Peyton Manning cannot be in the conversation with Tom Brady, or Dan Marino can't be in a conversation with Tom Brady just because Peyton Manning, which he actually misquoted this. He says in the thing he only has one title. He actually has 2 championships. He won one with the Colts, and he won one with the Denver Broncos, and then Marino has 0. But regardless of that, he makes the case that these players shouldn't be disqualified from the greatness or greatest of all time conversation because they don't have these accolades that go with it. And it's such a hypocrisy. This is why so many people just can't stand this guy. It's such hypocrisy. Okay, if you just spent your whole career in Cleveland, stayed there, grunted through all the bad times and then had the good times and won a championship or 2 or whatever, you can maybe sit there and make that argument that you didn't chase championships, you just stayed where you were loyal, whatever the case may be. But you blatantly switched teams to chase championships. You didn't go to Miami to lay on the freaking beach. You went to Miami to play with Dwayne Wade so he can teach you how to win championships. You went there to team up with your buddy, Bosch, and you were supposed to also team up with your buddy, Melo, but he took a contract the year before, so he couldn't get down to South Florida with everyone. Okay? So that's the first thing. You went there, was supposed to win all these championships. You didn't get there and say, hey, guys, I'm just here to play with my friends. I'm so happy to do it. No. 5, 6, 7 championships. That's what your mantra was. You're hypocritical. Like, the hypocrisy from this guy is just incredible to me, how hypocritical he is. And how he just flip-flops his narratives and beliefs on things as soon as, he realizes that he can't do something. Okay? So what does he do? Goes to Miami. They exhaust all their resources, trading players, max contracts, whatever. And what does he do? He runs right back to Cleveland. He goes to Cleveland, and he does the same thing. He goes there to chase championships. They had Kyrie Irving. They had a couple extra good pieces on the team. They ended up acquiring Kevin Love, and they built themselves another super team. Okay, that's the narrative. That's what he did. He didn't go there just to go back home and just play at home and stay there forever the rest of his career. No. What did he do after 4 years of being in Cleveland? Ran to LA. What'd you do for most of your career? You could have, when his contract was up, instead of going and playing with Dwayne Wade, he could be like, you know what, I want to play for a really good kid. He could have gone and played for Greg Popovich down in San Antonio. There's a ton of things he could have done that would not enforce the narrative that he was chasing titles. It's exactly what he was doing. He didn't go places to chase titles. He didn't go places just to be there. He went places to chase titles. That's the whole point. He went to LA. The goal in LA was to win a title, and if it wasn't for COVID, he would have never won one, but that's a different discussion. So in all these years of chasing championships, he stayed in the Eastern Conference for a long time just to give him a chance to get to the finals and maybe win one here and there. And all these years of doing so, and this hypocrite now that he's realized he's not going to win another title, he's not going to have a chance to win another title, not on LA at least, and now he's trying to change the narrative again. If championships never mattered, then why is it when you beat the Golden State Warriors, all of a sudden that made you the greatest of all time? Why did that make you the greatest of all time? When you beat the Golden State Warriors when they had their 73-9 season or whatever it was. If championships didn't matter, why did winning that championship validate your greatness? If championships weren't that important. So see, this is why people can't stand him. People can't stand him because there is a huge, drastic hypocrisy that goes on with this man. He's a narrative-driven, to me, he's just like a fucking, infestation on the NBA. He has resulted in the NBA having the lowest ratings it's had in years. Okay? He is the reason why they have that. Okay? You got all these players making $50 million. Michael Jordan did a lot for the league. There's never, at one point, Michael Jordan was never the highest paid player in the NBA when he played. Never. Not one time. He was very close his last year with the Bulls. He made some $30 million, but he wasn't the highest paid player at the time. And he did that. He built the brand up of this mentality of everyone works hard, everyone shows up, puts on a good show, because people may never see you again. That's not the mentality of players now. Players now, it's about what's load management. Let's only play like 2/3 of the games or 3/4 of the games, and then we're resting for the playoffs. And then you get in the playoffs and you lose. What's the excuse then? That's what LeBron James has done. This his last 5, 6, almost 10 years. He's probably done this. He load manages, quote unquote, and then he shows up in the playoffs and he's taking games off so he can be good in the playoffs. And then now he's talking about they should take a month off and then have the playoffs, because that's how he had to win his last championship. He got a month off for him and Anthony Davis to recover from some ailments, and then they had the bubble championship, which they ended up winning. And that's the only reason they won. If they would have played on the right time frame that they usually play on, they'd never won. It's everything about this guy is about scamming the game to fit his what he needs to win, and the narrative about it. That's all it is. It's all about double talking out of the side of your mouth, and just changing narratives at whim, and he has no accountability for it. He has zero accountability for any of these things. And it's really just agitating to listen to all the time. And on top of that, you always have to listen to this bull crap from LeBron fans about how Michael Jordan only played plumbers. And he only played people that were unathletic and some crap like that. Or the left-hand narrative thing that comes out. It's all this other crap, which we have right on camera all the time. LeBron James puts a camera in his face and blurts out all of his excuses for this, all of his excuses for that, everything under the sun, other than I have accountability for not getting it done. It's everyone else's fault. When the team wins, it's because LeBron James played well. When the team loses, it's because my teammates around me suck or my coaching was bad. When he makes all these decisions. He chooses who comes to his team. He doesn't go to a team and say, GM, do what you want. I'll be on the beach. Just let me know. I'll show up and play with whoever you got. Nope. You're going to sit there and tell me LeBron James does not have any say in who he adds to his basketball team? That he's not quietly part GM or something like that? That he's not having any say? No, that's not true at all. He has every say in it. So whenever he picks his team, handpicks them, and they come to play with him, and they still lose, he wants to blame the teammates that he picked. And then he also handpicks his coach. He picked J.J. Redick this year. No one else picked J.J. Redick. No one got the stamp of approval. You're not going to hire a coach to coach LeBron James unless you have the stamp of approval from LeBron James. And the bigger problem with that I have is, you pick the coach, and he always picks a coach that it's a no-name. They don't pick a coach that has years of experience that is going to be very good. He never went and got Tom Thibodeau. He never went and got a Rick Carlisle or something. It's always these no-name coaches that if I win with this no-name coach, I'm great. If I lose with a no-name coach, well, it's because they were a shitty coach. That's the whole narrative. That's how the narratives are built with this man. Okay, and I've made videos in the past on my previous YouTube channel under my, I don't know, I haven't decided where I'm going to post this yet, so it might be on the regular one, just under my name, James Plank. But I've made plenty of videos where I've talked about all the things that make him not the GOAT, and this is one of the things that makes him not the GOAT. One thing I always like to tell people, and people are starting to understand this now, since he's been in the Western Conference for a handful of years, he's not made the playoffs twice, he's lost in the first round twice, he's won a championship, and then he didn't get to the finals in another one. So in all the years he played in the Eastern Conference, the whole reason why he played the Eastern Conference, this is the narrative I've been telling people for years. When you're in the Eastern Conference, and the conference was not good, and you get to the finals and lose, what that means is if you would have played in the Western Conference, you would not have made the finals. Okay, that's what that means. I remember correctly, he's at 4 championships and 6 losses right now. So 6 times, he would not have got out of the Western Conference. Okay? And if you look at for example, Michael Jordan, 6 times that he went to the finals, he won, which means if the Bulls would have been in the Western Conference, he'd have got there at least 6 times. He might have got there a couple more times because he had a time where he lost to the bad boy Pistons, and Pippen had a migraine or something, it cost him a Game 7. Things like that. So there's a whole bunch of things that could have played into that factor. But when you look at LeBron, you're playing in the lesser of the 2 conferences, and you get to the finals and lose 6 times. That means if you had been in the West, you never would have made the finals at all. That's something people got to understand about LeBron James. Is again, narrative building. He played in the weaker conference. He could have gone to the better conference to show what he's worth, but he didn't. And the entire time Jordan played, He was in the better conference all the time. The entire time he was in the East, it was the better conference. Okay, in a time frame of him being in the league, you had a lot of champions come out of the East. Okay, you had a lot of great teams, a lot of Hall of Famers came out of the East. Okay, and he had to play through all that. He had to play against all that stuff. You can't sit there and say that with LeBron. To be fair, he did cost a lot of people from getting to championships, and they probably would have lost too. But the point is, you did lose in the finals a lot, and a couple of them were just extremely bad losses in the finals. Some of the biggest losses in the finals have come under LeBron James's watch. But we're supposed to just forget that because his team was this, his team was that. You still got to the finals. Why? One of the biggest things, like one of the earlier things that he gets like praised for and then gets like a pass on. He beat the Pistons. It's not the same team that won the title against the Lakers, but he beat the Pistons, a decent team, a very good team. Like they would have got to the finals and probably lost to the Spurs. Don't get me wrong. However, he gets praised for what he did against the Pistons, like carrying the team and getting them there, and then he gets a pass for what he didn't do against the Spurs. Being outscored by his own teammates, not being efficient from the field, not having a well-developed like mid-game. They cut down the lanes for him, so he had to shoot from the perimeter a lot, and he didn't have a perimeter game. Like he gets like a pass on that. Just like he gets a pass for what he did against Dallas. He gets a pass for what he did, what he didn't do against the Spurs. After Ray Allen saved his career, the next year they played the Spurs again. The Spurs like just blew him out of the building. The largest margin of victory in any finals ever. So, like all these things, narratives that this guy drives. You know what? You know who didn't have to drive narratives? Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan never had to drive any narratives. He just went out and played basketball, and the basketball spoke for itself. He didn't come out and have to defend his career or what he accomplished. You know why? Everyone else does it for him because they know how great he is. There's a reason why there's modern players now that really don't go out and defend LeBron James as the greatest of all time. There's a lot of journalists who do. There's a lot of people out there who defend LeBron because they want their GOAT, the guy who's the greatest player when they watched basketball when they were growing up, they want that to be the best. But when you ask them to prove it, they have nothing to go off of. Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time. He's one of the most efficient players of all time. He's the best two-way player of all time. Okay? He got 6 titles in like 8 less years than LeBron. Okay? 6 titles in, I think he only played, 15 years? I don't even think he played 15 years. I don't know off the top of my head. Well, if he would have never came back and played for the Wizards, even though he went back and played for the Wizards and he wasn't what he was still better than what LeBron is now. Jordan was a pretty decent defender. He was a two-way player. And he had some really good times as a 40-year-old. The problem was the team around him wasn't good. What would have been good for Jordan is to play on a team that would have been pretty good, and he just has to close out the game. That's what would have been good if Kobe was like that. Kobe was on near the twilight of his career, wasn't on a team where he could really just close out the game. He had to carry the team throughout the course of the game. He was always gassed by the end of the game. That's why his end of his career was what it was. But I'm not going to dive too much more into this. I just want to comment on this. So this has been irking my brain, man. And here's the thing, like the NBA, I feel, has created this it's okay to be a loser mentality. Okay? And I'm saying this, and a lot of people who are basketball fans and NBA fans, maybe even people who are NBA haters are going to like really jump on board with this. But the NBA has created a league where winning does not matter. Okay? You're giving people $50 million a year because they're just a good player and they're not champions. Like you're giving players this much money and they're not even winning. They're not even at that echelon of... So here's the thing about championships. There's only one every year. Only one team wins. Only one team wins in every sport. Okay? Basketball, there's one champion every year. Football, one champion. That's why it's so special. That means in a whole course of a year, you prove that you and the team you have around you prove that you are the best team on the basketball court. And basketball is one of those leagues that really does prove it. It's a 7-game series. It's not a 1 game. Okay, someone gets hot and you can win the game one time. It's a all-in game like football. Okay, basketball's not like that. You get the opportunity to play 7 games and you have to win 4 of 7. So the best team usually asserts itself as being the dominant team. And on multiple occasions, LeBron James has proven that that's not the case. And I would argue that there's a handful of times where LeBron James's legacy was not in his hands. Someone else took it into their hands and saved his legacy. First one, Ray Allen. Ray Allen hit that shot. Bosh got the rebound. LeBron James missed. Bosh got the rebound. Ray Allen hits the shot and sends it into overtime. They won in overtime. That was LeBron James not being clutch in the moment. Someone else was clutch for him and gave him an opportunity to win another championship. So that's the first thing. Second one, Kyrie Irving. Take like what he did in the last 4 games in the Cavaliers series against the Golden State Warriors was nothing short of spectacular. And in the fourth quarter, he had way more. He had like 4 times the points in the fourth quarter than LeBron James had to close out those games. That wasn't LeBron James. That was Kyrie Irving saving LeBron James' career. Okay, LeBron James did have a chase down block. Great at playing defense when no one's watching. But yeah, and then if you look at the bubble, I would argue that the bubble let him heal, and that made it so they were contenders. If he would never had a chance to heal and he had to play with a lingering injury, it wouldn't have been a thing. The other teams were hot. They had to cool off for a month. You had a bunch of teams like that, both the East and Western Conference. So a lot of things in LeBron James's career, I think a lot of his great moments are not even his. Like someone else has done something and he's just there, so he ends up looking like he capitalizes on it, but he doesn't. Someone else makes great moments, great plays, that saves his career, saves his moments, and then he does show up in the next game, but when it really mattered, it wasn't him. It wasn't him doing it. So yeah, back to the thing about the NBA. The NBA is not a league that values championships and winners. And here's how I know that. The league does not do that because the logo for the NBA, and this is a player who went to my alma mater, WVU, and loved the player to death. Great player, one of the greats of all time. However, the logo for the NBA is a player who was 1-8 in finals. He lost 8 times in championship games, and he won once in championship game in championship series. That shows you everything that is prioritized by the NBA. It's not about winning. It's not about championships. It's not about being the best and showcasing it. It's about looking like the best and having the best draw and bringing in, I guess, the best profits. They don't why Jordan's Jumpman isn't the logo is beyond me. Maybe they got to pay a lot of money for it. That's probably why. But I'm sorry, when I think of NBA greatness, I don't think, Jerry West is by far the greatest NBA. No, it's not even close. I'm sure there's reasons for it, reasons I've never been told. But whenever your logo for your sport is someone who's only like is 1-8 out of 9 times, that's about 11% or so. I don't know. I'm driving, so I can't do the calculations, but it's 1 out of 9, which is it's a little bit more than 10%. I think it's around 12% maybe, or 11 or 12%. So you got the logo, which is supposed to be what you've propped up as like the display for your league. This is what people identify your league as, and it's a guy who won in finals 11% of the time. Everyone talks about like baseball being hard, where you hit the ball 1 out of every 3 times, or sometimes like around 30% of the time, and you're great. In basketball, you only won a championship out of 11% out of 9 attempts, and you're the greatest, and they put you as a logo. So maybe LeBron James has a point. Maybe it's not about that because the league doesn't value those things. I don't know. But that's the video. I've ranted for about 18 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this. This is JD. Everyone have a good one and be safe. See you.